Today I'm going to show you how I made this silky, creamy, luscious Bucatini Carbonara. My name's Greg. Welcome to the Gourmet Woodsman. Carbonara. I'm going to use one of these Guanciales. You can see that Guanciale is very fatty. This is the pork jowl. Really, that's probably a good amount. Little goes a long way with this stuff. I'm going to start by cutting it into lardons. So if you don't make your own guanciale, it can be very hard to find. Pancetta is a pretty good acceptable substitute, and I've even heard of people using bacon, but in my mind, that's not carbonara. That's pasta with bacon and eggs. Sometimes guanciale will have a skin on it. This does no skin. It is a little dry here, but because these have been equalizing, the drier part is definitely softened up a bit. Get a good look at that before I cut it all up. We actually want the grease from this pretty much as we want the meat. You know what? I'm just going for it. I got a lot of guanciale. I've got several more of these. I'm just going heavy on this today. Into a cold pan. This is probably enough for 3 or 4, but I'm making it for 2. It'll be just fine. Well, I'm just gonna heat that up slowly because we want to render the fat. So check these out. There's some oyster mushrooms I have growing. Don't worry, I'm not putting them in my carbonara, but these should have been picked yesterday. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook these and put them on the side because I think the earthiness from the mushrooms will just go good. They'll pair well with the funkiness of the guanciale. It has its own kind of earthy, funky taste. Add a little salt to it, a tiny bit of water. These mushrooms are actually pretty dry, but once that water evaporates, then we can turn the heat up. So I'm gonna put those on. So I have heard that real carbonara uses pecorino romano. Pecorino romano is very salty, and a lot of people like the combination, the Parmigiano Reggiano. It's more like nutty. It has a different spectrum of flavor. So I'm going to go about half and half Parmigiano Reggiano and half Pecorino Romano. Looks like more than it is. This microplane really makes it pretty fine. But I do like to get everything ready for this before putting the pasta in. And one more little bit of prep. Some people use just egg yolks, some people use whole eggs. I'm going to use a combination. I'm using 4 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. Just gonna whip these eggs up. One other ingredient in here, besides the pasta, is black pepper. Looks like a lot. I'm going for like a tablespoon or so. And this grinder is not very good. All right, lots of black pepper. I'm gonna add my cheese. Perfect, all that black specks from the pepper. Cheese thickened it up really nice. So that's my sauce ready to go. Before I move this over to the stove, I want to talk about pasta. I'm using one of the better brands. It's actually an Italian brand. Going for about half this package. I want to show you, if you can see, if this damn thing will focus. These have little tiny holes in them. These aren't a solid spaghetti, they have holes in them. And I like that texture. Oh boy, I gotta stir this guanciale. See all that grease? That's what's gonna make that sauce. It's all this grease. These are almost done to my liking. Maybe give it another minute. So before I add my pasta, I'm definitely going to salt my water. I'm not going to add as much as I usually would. I am going to use that water for my sauce. This already has a lot of salty elements with the guanciale and the pecorino romano, so I'm not salting my water quite as heavy as I normally do. Now, I'm going to turn off the heat on this, and I'm going to remove this guanciale. So once all the water is cooked out of these mushrooms, just going to add a little bit of butter and turn up the heat so they get a little bit crispy on the outside. Not crispy, but like firm. It's just a nice little side. Pretty much going to have that and some salad. That's the side. Just going to add a little bit of this pasta water to my eggs and whisk like mad. That's going to temper the eggs so they don't scramble. These are looking pretty nice. All right, now this is ready. Turn the heat off. Keep that on where there's no heat. Just use the heat of the pasta and the water to cook this sauce. It's perfectly fine if it drags some water with it. And just keep it moving. See, it's going to come together into this thick, creamy, beautiful sauce. And just going to add these back in there. Guanciale is so good. If it looks a little too tight, just add a little bit of water. Bucatini Carbonara. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, put some love into your food. Peace.